Nursing historically has been a white woman-dominated profession that has refused to use the tools at its disposal to actually diversify the workforce. We still have a lot of the Black, Indigenous, Latina nurses either languishing in either ancillary professions like medical assistants or community health workers or LVNs or LPNs, but we haven't really, as you move up the educational diaspora, I think one of the unintended consequences of programs like Magnet and even advanced practice programs, or even being in the 2% like I am with PhDs, is that the bulk of diversity within our profession is at the entry to practice level. And so we spend too much time focusing on the 12%. So 12% of nurses actually have advanced degrees. They're either midwives, nurse practitioners, researchers, whatever. But we don't spend enough time on the 88%. And that's where the diversity is in the profession. So one of the reasons, just by proxy of who I am in the world, I have to mentor the next generation of individuals because it's part of my job. And the truth of the matter is that how many Black role models do you see in the health professions? How many Black professors do you actually get to know and learn from? How many, I didn't have a Black professor my whole educational trajectory and or career until I became a professor.
I had an experience teaching a class online, and there was one Chinese Canadian student in the class. She had a white name, a European name, so nobody knew that she was Chinese Canadian. And we were discussing a certain article, and all of the white nurses had this kind of unified interpretation of it. I don't remember the article or what that was, but the Chinese Canadian nurse posted a message saying, "That's not how I see this article at all." And nobody knew where that was coming from, but in the process of answering, she did identify that she was Chinese Canadian, and so she had an entirely different way of looking at it, and it just opened up so much. Now, if we would have been in a room together, I doubt if she would have had the courage to speak up and say that. And that was one of the incidents that really raised my awareness of how powerful it is to be the only person who looks different in a classroom situation like that.
I didn't see, it's this constant pattern when I think of all my educational experiences where I don't see myself, where I don't hear about Black researchers, I don't hear about any researchers of color, period. And you go through thinking that things are done just one way. And when I met Peggy Chinn, it was in one of my very last semesters where I was finishing up my coursework, and she introduced me to Black nursing scholars. And all this time I didn't even know they existed, but that opened up a whole new world for me, a whole new world that I can't even describe it. She did something that others have never done for me, to show how my research was valuable and it was important, but she also stood up for me when I experienced a racist situation. And instead of ignoring it and pretending like nothing happened, she decided to address it, and she wasn't shy about that at all. She wasn't afraid, and that really empowered me and gave me strength. One, it helped me see how important my research was, but that I had a right to be there and receive a PhD, because that's that constant thing that you're always kind of feeling and doubting, do I belong here? And she really helped me to see that.
We start too late to get people excited about sexual and reproductive health. We start too late getting people excited about the health professions. If the first time you think about becoming a member of the health professions is when you have your babies and you want to be a midwife because you think you can do better, that's too late in repro, right? So we really have to start thinking about workforce development as an intergenerational activity that is the responsibility of everyone.